Hello everyone, I'm Kim from Yesterday's Tomorrows. I'm with the Paint Couture creative team. Come and join me today while I take this vintage rocking horse that I found at my local antique store and upcycle it into some shabby chic home decor. Now, I already took Paint Couture's Buttercream in their chalk line and put 2 coats on the really pretty rocking horse. Now I'm just going to distress it with my gator. This is just a sanding block, and I'm just going to distress it where you would normally find some wear and tear on some old things. So I'm just doing it around the edges of the horse and giving it a little bit of more of a vintagey appearance, because that is what I am going for. All right, so there it is. It's all distressed out, and now we're going to put some transfers on. These are redesigned with Prima transfers. You can use anything that you would like. You could even, if you wanted to, just decoupage on there. Some pretty decoupage paper. But I'm going to be using these transfers today. I thought the roses look really pretty, and I think they look very shabby chic. All right, so I'm just going to putting them on the legs. So once I have my placement, I'm just going to take my transfer stick, and now I'm going to rub the transfer stick down. And you just rub the transfers on just like that. And then once they're all rubbed down, you just lift your plastic up and they are pretty much stuck down. Now just give it a little rub just to make sure that it adhered to your surface. All right, so now I'm just doing the other leg the same way. And I'm putting these really pretty shabby chic roses on there. And it's really starting to turn out just the way I envisioned it. All right, so now what we are going to do is we're going to put some molds on there. I just thought it needed a little something around the bottom of the rocking horse. So we're going to put some molds on, and I'm going to be using an IOD mold, and the mold has some roses on it. So I'm just going to be taking my paper clay. See, right there on the bottom is where I'm going to be putting the molds, right there. So I like to use IOD molds, which is that one right there. And that's all roses right in there. So I thought that'd be pretty. That would match the roses in the transfers that I just used. So I'm just taking some cornstarch. If you put cornstarch in your molds, you get a better release. They would have a really hard time if you didn't put the cornstarch in. Cornstarch or baby powder, whichever one that you have around the house would work. Now I like to use creative paper clay. You can use whatever paper clay you'd want, or you could even do a resin mold, whichever one you want. I like to use the creative paper clay when I'm doing something that I want to look vintagey and old, because paper clay has a tend to crack a little bit, and that to me gives it more of an older feel, and that's what I am looking to achieve out of these molds. All right, so I'm pressing it in to my mold, as you see there, and pack it in tightly so you get the really good impression. Then after I got it packed in, I just take my little palette knife and I go around the edges just like so, just to flatten it out so it lays flat really nice on the rocking horse. There we go. They just peel it back out. Perfect. It came out great. All right, now to apply my molds, my favorite thing to use is Titebond Quick and Thick. That's what I use for all my molds. I just take a popsicle stick. You can use that. You can use a little paintbrush, whichever you like. I like to use a popsicle stick. This way I can just dispose of it and don't have to worry about washing any brushes out. So just apply it. I do a thin coat. You don't want to do too thick. You don't want it to start oozing out of all the edges when you apply it down on whatever surface you're applying it to. With me, it'll be the bottom of the rocking horse. It's going to be so pretty. There we go. So now I'm going to put it down. And like I said, Titebond Quick and Thick, it sets up pretty quickly. So once it's down and I have it in the position that I would like it in, it gives you time to move. You can move the molds. There we go. I just want it a little bit over. There we go. See, it gives it you can even lift it. There we go. You can even lift it if you want. It gives it some time to move. It doesn't set up that quick. But there we go. Press it down. Now the mold needs to be painted. I'm going to paint it in Italian Ivory, Paint Couture's mineral paint line, and I'm going to be painting it in the Italian Ivory. Now there's a little bit of glue oozed out the sides. I'm just removing that just like so, just with a little silicone brush. So Paint Couture Italian Ivory. Now Paint Couture Italian Ivory has a top coat and built-in primer in it. So, which is perfect for molds, because when you apply, especially if you're using paper clay, you want to put a top coat on. So when you do apply your glazes or your waxes, you have a chance for them to move and not just sit in one place. So I'm using the Italian Ivory, and I'm going to be using 2 different kinds of glazes today. Now, they're actually not glazes. They are paints, but which you can use as a glaze. So I'm just finishing painting that up with the Paint Couture Italian Ivory. And like I said, it's got the built-in top coats on there, so I do not have to use a top coat on there before I apply my glaze. All right, so now we're just drying it before I apply my other paint that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be using the Paint Couture Vintage Lace and Rose Gold. They're both metallic paints, and they are beautiful, beautiful colors. I'm in love with both of them. So we're going to apply the Vintage Lace first over the whole thing, and then we're just going to highlight with the Rose Gold. So if you can see, I'm putting it on the molds, and if you do it right away, you could take a baby wipe and you can wipe it back, and it'll work like a glaze, and it's just getting into all the nooks and crannies of my rose mold, and it's working beautifully. And you just take off as much as you want, or as least as you want. There we go. All right, so now I'm putting on some more, and I'm making sure I'm doing it with a little artist brush. So I make sure that I get it into all the little nooks and crannies of this mold, because I want to see all the definition of the mold. So that's why I'm using a small little brush. If I used a big brush, I don't think I would be able to get it into all the nooks and crannies. And I am going in a swirling motion, and a back and forth, just to make sure that I get it there into everything. Now you got to make sure you don't do too much, because you don't want it to dry, because you want to be able to wipe it back. So that's about as much as I would do on a piece before I would wipe it back, because you do, like I said, this is a paint. This is not a stain or a gel. So it will dry and it won't come off as easily as a gel or a stain will come off. So there we go. And I'm wiping it back, and look how pretty that looks. I think it looks perfect on there. But I'm going to be using the rose gold also, just to give it a little bit of dimension. Now, when I use the rose gold, I'm going to be using a artist brush just like before, but I'm only going to be hitting the high points of the mold. Doesn't that look so pretty? I think it's just enhancing the rocking horse and making it look really, really shabby chic, the look I'm looking for. There's the rose gold. It's just a beautiful color. So now I just take my brush and I'm dipping it into there. And like I said, I'm only using the flat side of the brush, and I'm just going over the top of it with the rose gold. I'm not doing a swirling motion. I'm not painting it on. I don't want it to cover up the vintage lace that I just put on there. So I'm just, if you see, I am just going over the very top of the mold, just with the flat part. And it is giving it a dimension to the roses that are in this mold. And this is the look that I was achieving in my mind when I was thinking about this. So I am thrilled that it's looking absolutely perfect. And once this is dry, because it has a top coat and primer in it, you can just leave it alone and it's all done. But didn't that come out so pretty? I just love this little thrift flip that I just did. And I forgot to mention that I did put an Extreme Guard top coat over the transfers and the horse too. I almost forgot to let you know that. All right, so it came out beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. I hope to see you soon on my next video with the Paint Couture creative team. If you enjoyed this video, just give it a like and subscribe. We would love to have you back again. And I will see you soon with another shabby chic vintage home decor look for your home. Thank you for joining me today.